Hey, welcome back to another episode of Maintenance with Mike. So today we're going to be talking about garage organization. I was inspired from Mike over at Grampies Workshop. He's doing a bunch of renovations to his workbench and his shop, and he inspired me to want to be more organized. I have these wonderful Canadian Tire stainless cabinets here that have shelving in them and stuff, which are excellent for storage. But let me show you my dirty secret. Let's have a look in the cabinets. You can see that these were purchased from Canadian Tire. They only came with 3 shelves. So I've purchased a shelf kit recently to get more organized because the spacing is just too much between each shelf and we're wasting shelf space basically, right? So the idea here is, like always, when you want to renovate a cabinet like this, you either take it all out and put it back in, or you have another cabinet that you can start the shell game with. And this cabinet is basically empty. We use this cabinet to house all our motorcycle jackets and stuff. And you can see in here, here's the spare shelves I was talking about. You can see in here there's actually a baseboard heater and a crank timer. So basically you can crank that timer to 2 hours to turn on the heat in this cabinet. And we'd have our jackets in here in case you were caught out in the elements, then your equipment would dry. What I've found though is, hindsight being 2020, when we built the shop, the storage that's upstairs has a heat pump head, and there's a heat pump outside for this shop. Probably should have put 2 heads on this system and had one down here and one upstairs, just to circulate air here in the wintertime. There's no heat in the shop other than the fireplace that's here that I use. And there's 2 rooms that are at the back of the shop that are 2x6 insulated with exterior doors that have heat in them. And those are the mechanical room that house the hot water tank and the pump and the UV filter and all that stuff for the shop. The other room is Michelle's canning room, which we have a chest freezer in there and a bunch of canned goods that we don't want to freeze. So I came up with an idea to get the motorcycle gear out of this cabinet because we had one incident where in the springtime we came in here to go for a ride, and on Michelle's boots was a bit of surface mold, I guess. It cleaned off very easily, but I think it's just too damp and there's no air movement to have them just inside these cabinets. And of course you can't have that baseboard heater on all the time. It would cost a small fortune to run that. So I came up with an idea because we're already heating those 2 rooms. Let me show you what I did. So you can see this room is a 2x6 exterior door. And in here is obviously the toilet, the hot water tank, and the filter system and all that, and my clothes drying rack. But basically, this is the stuff up here on this shelf now, this wire shelf. And the reason I went with wire shelf is because it's obviously a heated room, so the heat's going to come up and go inside these helmets and boots and jackets as well, which is nice. It'll keep all this stuff dry and warm and not damp. So those are the articles that were moved out of that last cabinet that I just showed you. So with having moved the motorcycle riding gear and stuff into that room, we've freed up this cabinet, which essentially we can start the shell game where you can move items from one cabinet to another cabinet. Then that makes that cabinet empty, and so on and so on and so on. So the idea here is we're going to put these 4 shelves in here. I'm probably going to take this baseboard heater out of this cabinet, to be honest. We're going to use the power that's in this cabinet already for that baseboard heater. It is a 120 volt baseboard heater. It wasn't a 240, so that's good. We're going to put in our Kenwood receiver with our 2 Bose 201s up on the wall here. So we're going to have some some music for the garage. But the idea here is to try to maximize the space, right? Like I thought maybe the bins, little bins and stuff. Let me show you another dirty secret. Let me show you the next cabinet. It's pretty crazy. Here, this is just pure chaos of stuff. Screws and bolts and plumbing clamps, like worm gear clamps and braided hose lines. There's the only organization in this cabinet is this half is paint and this half is like sprays and oils and stuff. So I've started. It's going to be an ongoing process throughout the winter. This isn't going to be done overnight, and you're not going to see this all complete at the end of the video for obvious reasons. It's going to take some time. I want to plan it out properly. I want to get some of those bins, maybe try to organize the screws and bolts and stuff a little bit better. But I think it's going to be really nice once it's done. And then the trick is to keep it organized. So this is my thought on organization for my application. I do have a number of bins and stuff up here as well that have tie wraps and tie downs and ratchet straps. And I'm going to have to go through that stuff as well. And as well, we have upper cabinets on this side that is not terribly unorganized. It's just, we're not really using a lot of the space wisely, I guess. I could do, sprays and cleaners in one. These rags should be in one area of the cabinet. The problem I find is that everything is a different height, right? So you really have to work on figuring out which cabinet is best for each size article. That's what I struggle with. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of Maintenance with Mike. So that is my idea on getting better organized throughout the winter. I'd love to show you guys a video midwinter or something like that of these cabinets all nice and organized. But if you like these videos, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Maybe share them with a family member or friend, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.